So one of the things I really want to give you in this class, the main thing I want to give you is a really clear pathway for doing web programming with Go. But I would also like to give you all of the resources you need to supplement and augment your knowledge with the Go programming language. And so I have a document here which is going to be, the outline for the course. And in this document, we have a resources area, and these resources are additional resources which will help you as you're learning both the Go programming language and also how to do web programming with Go. So to get to the outline of this course, you could go to this URL right here, and it's that. It's goo.gl and then /I, capital C, LLRL, right? Just a short random URL. And once you're here, you could click on programming resources. So click on that link, and it's going to take you to another document with even more resources. And so this document has its own URL that you could get to right there. But obviously, if you could get to the previous document, you could get to this one. And so the first links here are forums for asking and answering questions. So these are two great forums when you have questions about Go, web programming, whatever. Posting your questions there is a great thing to do. Some of the best minds in the Go programming community hang out in both of those forums. And so I'm sometimes surprised at the responses that I get, like, whoa, that individual responded to me. That's totally cool. And then you get to know some of the other people in the Go programming community. So I really recommend that you use both those forums. And of course, you can always just message me directly and ask me. But sometimes I have like the 24-hour turnaround, or I try to. Sometimes it's 48, but I try to get back to people quickly. But on these forums, like the response time can be really quick, like 10 minutes or something. All right. One of the cool things too about Stack Overflow, which not everybody knows, is you could subscribe to different topics. And so this is how you do that, right? Like if I just search for Go and there's a little, I'm looking at this topic, a Go topic. If I hover there and I'm logged in, then I could see the subscribe link, and then it'll subscribe me to things related to Go on Stack Overflow. So I could see, questions other people are asking and answers others are posting. And I found that to be a really valuable way to help learn a language, and also looking at the questions people are asking and answering some of them myself. So that's cool. The next two links I want to give you is just links to different code bases. And so my GitHub account is, you can just Google GitHub Todd McLeod, and that will take you to Goes to 11. And so that's a reference to Spinal Tap, the movie, if you've ever seen it. But there I have the Golang training repo, and so that has all of the language, all of the code that I use in teaching the Go programming language, so in my other course. And if you want to reference that, you could go look at that, like how do I do this, how do I do that. You could go look at some examples of how to do concurrency or fan out, fan in patterns or whatever. Or, struct slices, whatever it is you want to check out. They're the language fundamentals. And then here's going to be all the code for this course. So Go Web Programming will be at this repo, Golang Web. Again, you could get to the course outline. We already saw that URL. When we have exercises, I'll put them into this folder, so there's a link to that. Here are presentations from my class at Fresno State. And so you can look at all these different presentations if you just kind of want to peruse how did I present different topics. And we'll come back to that when it decides to come up. So there's also some great books, and so I've listed these out. And so these are more, I have not read this book actually. I've read this one, so I'm not totally sure what that book's going to be, but I think it's the Language Fundamentals. But it's written by the same guy who wrote this, and Caleb is one of my friends, and he's an awesome Go programmer. So without reservation, I recommend both of his books. This has just come out, and it's in the mail right now, coming to me. So. And then there's also this book, and this book, and then this book. So those are all great books. I've kind of listed them in order of consumability, right? Like if you're just starting with the language, you should be taking my other class, but these are the more introductory, more easily consumable. This one's really advanced. There's some cool web stuff in this book, but it's pretty advanced. So if you are advanced and you want to jump straight into the cool web stuff, grab that book. And it's written by all these books are written by some really brilliant people. All right, so there's also some information online. So lectures from my Fresno State class. Caleb Doxey did an entire summer web boot camp, 4 weeks, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? So a lot of time. That whole playlist is right here, and then an index of the videos and the code base from that. So this is how Caleb taught web programming. In-person trainings, I really recommend if you're just learning language, Art and Lab. hardcore Go training. And then if you want to stay in touch, is how you get in touch with me. So those are the resources for the course. We never got that one document. Hopefully it's working. Let's go back and check it out. I think exercises is what we were trying to get to. Let's go there. And there we're there. Now we're there. Didn't come up before for some reason. So the code used in this course, again, and then the language fundamentals. So here's a link to the language fundamentals course, the Go programming language that I teach. So if you haven't taken that, really recommend you take that first. And then here's there'll be a link to my HTML and CSS course up here soon. So if you want to learn HTML and CSS more thoroughly, you can check that out. And then here's the code to the HTML CSS class. And so if you want to just reference, I don't know, grab some code or something for HTML CSS, you could get it there. So those are some resources for the course. As we go through the course, if I come across any other resources that I think would be good for you to have handy, I will come up here and I'll put them right in this area so that you'll have some convenient links to different resources to help you learn both the Go programming language and web programming with Go.